fans, and welcome back to the Sports Report. This week we're in Suzuka, Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix. This is a high-speed circuit with many turns, which was a little bit different to some of the circuits that we've seen. Really got to be in a flow state for Suzuka. This week, when I was thinking about how I wanted to discuss it, it was a week of joy and whimsy, but it was also a week of despair and sadness. So let's get into it. Firstly, some joy for you. We had some special liveries. Haas's Godzilla livery was pretty cool, but then we had some sadness in the forms of Mercedes. Fucking whole wolf rollout. I hated this. I hated this with my entire being. There is nothing that you can say that is going to convince me that this was any fucking good. It was so ugly and so weird. Okay, I know it was to do with like the Japanese folklore. I know there's like a Japanese folklore element to it, but I still fucking hated it. We started off with this weird fucking campaign with Toto Wolff involved in it. Then we had the livery come out, which was just a modified front wing. So can you even call it a special livery? And then to finish it off, we had these fuck-ass race suits. A cucca pizza, that's what they're giving. And why is there so much focus in the crotch area? So yeah, Mercedes livery, dog shit. Haas then brought us back with some fun excitement. They were just really all over the media this week. Kimi and Esteban Ocon raced some RC cars, and that was cute. It's a duo that you wouldn't really expect to be together, but here they are, I guess. Max Verstappen also kicked out a journalist who was the one that asked him, like, hey girl, did you possibly think that like maybe you lost this championship because you crashed into George? Max didn't like that very much, so he said, I'm not fucking doing this until that guy leaves. And then that guy was like, WTF. As a journalist, I think it's kind of funny. Because like, even though you weren't in the press conference and like you are probs gonna get in massive trouble from your boss, even though like it's not ideal circumstances for you to get kicked out of a press conference, now you've kind of like got the story, like you've kind of become the story a little bit. So that's fun. Moving on to cars on track. Only thing to note for FP2 was that Oscar set the fastest lap. And it felt really good. At that point, even if he didn't start again, I probably still would have been happy. Do you know what I mean? We got some Oscar crumbs early in the weekend. Moving on to qualifying. Now, I was going to talk about it later, but I think I might just bring it up now to like kind of get it over with and sort of start the discussion now, and then I'll circle back and actually give some proper commentary on it. Kimi Antonelli's pole lap. Now, I think it's on the F1 YouTube. They upload the lap after qualifying just to show everyone like, hey, this is the fastest lap from qualifying. And the drama is that apparently the footage that they have uploaded is actually from a different lap. Now, this is shady. This is shady business. Apparently, he got a tow on a different lap, and that he either have uploaded the lap where he didn't get the tow and that's why people are cranky, or they have uploaded the lap where he got the tow and that wasn't actually the lap that got him pole. Hello. They are also cranky because his onboard camera cuts out right as he goes into 130R. Basically, people are really cranky about super clipping and are saying that that's why they cut his onboard, because the car was super clipping, and the super clipping is the worst thing that's ever happened in the world, and then life is over. And if you don't know what super clipping is, because you were at the Grand Prix and you didn't actually see what people were talking about online and you're kind of just stupid, super clipping is when the car is going down the end of the straight, it loses all its battery, so then it switches over to harvest mode, and as it's going around a corner that should be fast, it starts harvesting. Or when it gets to the end of the straight, it just slows down because it's harvesting. And people are cranky because the cars are slowing down, basically, and recharging its battery instead of saying super fast and going. It's also very dangerous because then when they go, then they get a heap of boost power coming this way when no one wants that. Either way, FIA, F1 is being shady boots and are not doing the right thing. This is going to become a theme for the rest of this video. put a pin in this one, come back to it later. The other complaints that people are having about qualifying at the moment is that it doesn't feel as exciting and it doesn't feel like the cars are being pushed to the limits anymore. And again, we will come back to talking every single issue that people have with the regulations at a later date. What I've been seeing a lot of recently is that the laps are not feeling as stressed out. They're not as like pushing anymore because of the AI elements and the battery deployment and whatever. I do agree, it doesn't feel as like high stakes anymore. Get to my complete thoughts on that later. We're going to discuss the race now because what a fucking race. Off the line, who's this? Oscar Piastri. Might not have heard of him this year. He actually is kind of good. This just in, Oscar Piastri maybe is good, question mark. Gets around Kimi and George immediately. Kimi Antonelli's car looks like it's switched off. It does not look like it has turned on, done anything at all. It's not even moving, basically. George was kind of sleeping. It's then Oscar, George is sniffing around. I'm losing my shit. I wasn't impressed with George Russell this weekend.
Unbelievable!
Oscar starts to kind of pull away, but he's never really far enough away that it's like, oh, he's safe. There was a moment where they were getting close and then he managed to pull away a little bit. Oscar pits. George follows a couple of laps later, and now we've got the bullshittery that was Ollie Bearman's crash. From my understanding, heading into 130R, Ollie Bearman was travelling 90 kilometres faster than Franco Colapinto because he was harvesting and Ollie was boosting, and he just absolutely fucking flies into the wall. 50 Gs was the impact. Max Verstappen's crash in Silverstone in 2021 was 40 Gs and it was not good. Footage and the replay was super fucking confronting to see. He was seen kind of stumbling away, and I've since seen someone with a head injury qualification say that it seemed like he was concussed. They did say that he went to the medical centre and they found he was fine, but head injuries are so complex that I don't think you can immediately say after an impact like that, oh, they're fine. Like, I don't think that's correct. I think there needs to be a little bit more. He needs looked into or something. George whinges on the radio, as he does.
Unbelievable!
Bermuda Triangle, George Russell. This then slots Kimi Antonelli into first, followed by Oscar. There's also some Lewis Hamilton subplot going on here. He was sort of going alright, and then he was kind of suddenly just being overtaken by anyone.
And there's a lock-up for Hamilton, a multiple race winner around this circuit. He needs to give the position. We're on it. But the battle of a fifth is about to change. Told you, through goes Lando Norris.
There was even more Max and Pierre Gasly subplot fighting for like P7. Then there was even more Aston Martin subplot, as it appears that they have finished their first race. And then in the final laps, George Russell tries some bullshit on Charles. Gets around him once, Charles gets him back. Ultimately, Charles is in third. So your podium for Suzuka was Kimi Antonelli, Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc. Now this is a pretty good podium, I'm not gonna lie. I quite like this podium. Random extra subplot number 3. Secret fourth option for subplot was Nico Hülkenberg randomly hitting like the fastest speed of the entire season. Like, why did you do that? Just, hey, quick question, what? Now we're gonna talk about massive flops for this week. Massive flop number 1 is the FIA. Because again, they've just been doing some bullshit. And for no real reason either. We're going to talk about regulations because what else are we going to talk about? I think there probably needs to be some changes here, alright? Expert opinion going into this, probably something needs to change, hey? We can't just have people flying into walls. And apparently this has been talked about since pre-season testing, that there's going to be crashes and stuff. And the fact that Comma City say no one gave a fuck is a little bit confusing. So let's discuss what their possible reasonings for this is and see whether or not they actually have a reason. First thing is the fan spectacle of it. Now, historically, I have been in favour of these regulations because do I look like an engineer? No. don't know what the fuck is going on with the cars, okay? I want to watch them race each other. I want to watch them fight each other. That's what I was promised. I was not told that we were going to be having all of these issues, and obviously they're not going to be forthcoming. However, with that being said, the fact that people and drivers have been complaining and whinging should tell you something. Now, it's easy to discount their whinging as, well, you just don't have the fastest car, because you're always whinging about the car. It's the boy who cried wolf. Insert Mercedes livery. Someone needs to figure out how you are going to properly tell people when there's an issue and not just whenever you are not happy with the car. With that being said, that is the FIA's job, to be taking their complaints seriously. Believe it or not, the fans do not run this sport. Me sitting here and saying, I want to see fun driving, I want to see more fights, that shouldn't really matter when there's issues of safety at hand. Because again, I'm not the expert. I don't know what should be going into the car. I don't know how the battery power should be working. That's someone else's job. The communication is poor. I'm not happy with it. If you are saying that you are trying to turn this sport into a highlight reel, if that is all you are concerned about, if your primary interest base is the people that watch the highlights on YouTube, you want to market to them. They're not going to the races. They're not interested enough in the sport to bring about any kind of meaningful change, and they're also probably not spending very much money on it, because if all they care about is watching the highlight reels on YouTube, that's not going to any kind of broadcasting people. Do you see what I mean? When you are trying to accommodate for these people that don't actually give a fuck, believe it or not, they're not going to give a fuck. So I came up with this fantastic little role-playing situation for you, right? If we don't give a fuck about driver safety, and we really like it when people crash into the walls because that's fun and that is like interesting and oh, it's a bit of drama, it's a bit of spice, that then brings out the safety car, which then brings out the safety car like statement, and that then offers someone a win that they didn't necessarily deserve. Now you've got an outraged fan base who are not happy. What are you gonna do then? Solution to the issue: let's take complaints seriously when the complaint's being said in a serious manner. We've now got a whole month. We've had plenty of whinging and crying and carrying on like pork chops in these first 3 races. We've got a whole month. Numero uno, I would like to see people developing their cars, hopefully to make them safer, that would be nice, but also to make them faster so that we can have a good championship battle. Questions going into Miami? Well, I've got a lot of them, and I'm sure that I will have more by the time the race comes around. Let's see some action, let's see some improvement, let's see something of substance, because while this race was joyous and full of whimsy, it was also full of questions and anger, and that is not a good combination. With that being said, we will see you in a month's time in Miami. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Sports Report. Tune in. Never again.